I am pleased to announce and introduce the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, C.B. Cebulski, everybody.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Nice to see y'all.
Absolutely. So,
my fellow Connecticutians.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I didn't realize that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Born and bred. So
CB, how long have you been editor-in-chief now? 2 years, 3 years?
5. This October, November, it'll be 5.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
COVID
Time flies. Exactly. It's that 2-year gap that we
Absolutely,
all forget about. I was out in San Diego, and you see people like, hey, how old are your kids now? Like 3 and 7? No, 5 and 9. It's like, you always forget that 2-year gap, So
Absolutely. So, and of course, you've got a long association with Marvel. You were an artist wrangler, for lack of a better, I'm sure you have a much more posh title.
Started as a freelance translator, then became a freelance writer, then was an associate editor, moved into created the talent management division with David Bogart and Joe Quesada, worked on that for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Great. Perhaps this will be momentary.
I just bought a couple issues of G.I. Joe in the dealer room for Larry Hama to sign.
Of course, yes. Larry Hama will be doing a panel here later on. Hopefully we will not be getting the bleed over. Yeah, Miss, could you flag down when you leave? Could you flag down someone to help us out and let them know? Thank you very much. Jesus. All right, well, this is almost like incidental music.
I know, huh?
Our story begins on the base as they prepare to fight Cobra. There was a great guy in a Hawaiian shirt that had a Cobra helmet, and it's so incongruent. Yeah. But
see, the reason I bought the issues of G.I. Joe, and this is Marvel related, is my first ever fan letter was printed in G.I. Joe 19. And I'm always very embarrassed by that letter. So my mission in life is to collect and own every copy of G.I. Joe 19 I can find, so no one else will read the letter. And I've started now, especially at shows where Larry Hama is, buying all the copies and having Larry sign them all.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that episode of The Toys That Made Us, the Netflix series? And I mean, it's as much a Marvel story as it is a Hasbro and G.I. Joe story, so it's pretty cool.
The G.I. Joe one and the Transformers one, where they had actors play Bob Budiansky and like all the Shooter and all the people from back in the day then, yeah.
So really, in these 5 years, how has it been in terms of getting your editorial direction of what do you? Well, I should just ask in general. What would you want with the company in terms of the focus and where it's going on?
It's been interesting.
There we go. Hey. Thanks, dude.
No offense to G.I. Joe.
Exactly. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man.
Every editor-in-chief at Marvel, there's no job description. It's just a title. And everybody makes it what they want it to be. And from what, when Stan was running the show, and he really didn't have the title editor-in-chief, but that's technically what he was when you go back to, Shooter, who was, so influential to my comic reading as a growing up, to, DeFalco, The Five, Joe, Axel, and then me. Some people, it's handled differently. You don't really come in with an agenda. Joe Q had it real tough because he came in during the bankruptcy.
Yes, I'm aware. Absolutely.
And him and Bill Jemis, and they had the Project Reborn, as it became, rebuilt the company back up with the Ultimate line, with bringing
Marvel
in jobs, JMS, Marvel Knights, all that stuff. For me coming in, it was almost, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure.
In a way. Yeah. Marvel was doing quite well. We were really happy with the books. And when I first got the call and accepted the position, you have to start looking at it from a broad perspective.
Yeah.
And the mistake that I knew not to fall into was you can't come in hard and say, I want to make comics for me. I want this to be a reflection of me and who I am as a comic book reader and a comic book fan. That's the wrong mistake. So, the way that I always looked at it was, I'm the quarterback. I'm not the coach. I'm the quarterback. And I have my team, and I have one of the best editorial teams ever to be up there at Marvel. I truly do believe that. And it's give them the freedom to make the comics that they want, but push them in directions that I think we needed. And if there was, one, I wouldn't say mandate, but piece of advice that I always gave folks, especially with some of the younger editors that continue to come in, which is great, we have to respect the past as we move forward to the future. And I think that's what is so important. Marvel is if you go back to the timely days, we're going on 83 years now?
Yeah, that's right, 89, 39.
Yeah, so someone said, I think it was Kelly Sue DeConnick or someone said, when you look at it, Marvel is the longest running single continuous narrative in the history of storytelling. And it's true. And it's our job to make sure that what we do, one, fits in, especially when it comes to the Marvel Universe, let's just say, for Marvel Comics, fits into that tapestry of the last 60-some years, that it makes sense, but also that we can please the readers that are readers from the day one, they're still out there. And also tell stories that are new reader-friendly and accessible, so people who are coming into Marvel for the first time, be it through games or, of course, through the films now.
And TV.
And TV, yeah, exactly, those amazing D+ shows, feel like they can come in and understand it. I think the biggest hurdle that a lot of people have in their heads when they want to, I want to really read Marvel Comics, but I don't know where to start. Or it's so confusing with all those characters in that 60 years of history. If we're doing our jobs right, and which is what I think we are now, every comic should be accessible in some way, shape, or form. And that's what I really wanted to remind people. It's tell stories for everybody.
Okay.
And that's one of the other reminders. And this is going to sound really, if I say what I'm going to say without context, and someone will take it online and say it, but it won't make sense, is I don't like every comic book that Marvel is publishing right now.
I understand.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it's not my job to, because not every comic should be meant for me.
100%.
I am a 51-year-old man who has read comics since 1977, and if every comic was made for me, all the readers would look like me.
It's a small audience, absolutely.
And
A small piece of the pie.
I have to let my editors and our writers and our creators, but work with them.
Sure.
To create comics that they want, because everybody came up differently. Some people came up through manga, some people are coming up through webtoons, some people came up in animation on TV. And if we don't do that, the industry is going to die. Marvel will die. It's so important to make sure that we have the most broad range of stories for everybody, for readers of all ages, for readers of all backgrounds, for readers of all countries, colors, religions, sexuality, that we have the most diverse and inclusive line of comics. So there's a comic for everybody. And all those comics might not be for me. They shouldn't be for me. They shouldn't be for you. They shouldn't be for everybody here.
With you.
But if someone comes in and likes Ms. Marvel and likes Miles and likes Kate Bishop Hawkeye, but they're not reading X-Men, they're still finding comics that they like. And that's what's most important.
Well, and to have a wide line, you do want to offer a variety of books and everything. Kevin Feige not only is in charge of movie and TV, but now also the comics. And I don't even know in terms of what is his impact, what edict beyond what you've already described. How are things different under Kevin rather than when it was Dan Buckley, publisher, you guys, and the editors and stuff? But yeah, how are things different, and what's he asking for? Kevin's
amazing, and really to be blunt, and I talk to Kevin almost every week. We email back and forth and stuff. He doesn't really ask for anything.
Okay.
That's the thing. He's very much, like I said earlier, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
When the switch happened, and Dan, it's Kevin, it's Dan, and then it's me.
That's what I figured.
And the triangle of us, we work together very well. We're all on the same page. We're all comic book readers our entire lives. We all respect the medium. And Kevin is just like, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Great.
And his one thing that he told me that always sticks with me is, keep making new stories and creating new characters and telling the best possible stories with those characters. So in 10 years' time, I'll be making movies on the comics that we're producing now.
Yeah, the new characters, absolutely.
And
hey, Kamala Khan, obviously, Ms. Marvel,
exactly.
Classic example.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that trust that Kevin puts in us, and we always want to make sure that he knows how much we appreciate that trust, and we're making the best possible comics that him and the entire team out at Marvel Studios, any Marvel division is enjoying.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and of course, Kevin's love of the Marvel Universe is self-evident, and that's why the movies and the TV shows have been good, as opposed to other outside producers trying to emulate the comic book, but put their own spin on it. And we're like, well, that movie didn't work, that TV show didn't work, or whatever. So no, I can appreciate that. All right. So you just came. I'm assuming you were in San Diego.
Yep, just came back from
San
Diego.
So tell us about some of the announcements and some of the things you're excited about that are about to happen. Some of the new stuff.
Sure. I did not catch COVID.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Yeah, good Lord. 100%. My God. A lot of our friends, oh, good Lord.
It came back, and I started seeing check, and I was worried I wasn't going to be able to come here, but tested every day, straight through, and I'm here. Yeah, exactly. Knock on wood. No, we had a lot of different announcements. On the comic book side of things, It's a really exciting time. The one thing that maybe got a little bit overlooked was it was the first time that people were able to buy a special edition of the new Alex Ross Fantastic Four graphic novel Full Circle that came out from Abrams, which is amazing. It's the first time Alex has written comics again in about 10 or 12 years,
something like
maybe.
That. Yeah.
He designed it, he painted pages, he penciled pages, and he oversaw the coloring of the pages. It is a wonderful package, worth picking up. It's coming out. Like I said, there's copies on eBay, and I think if you went to alexross.com, he has some of the copies that he has left over. But it'll be coming out next year, the full version in all its glory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see, other announcements that we talked about. Strange Academy, while it's seemingly ending this current arc with issue 18, it is picking up again. We're relaunching with Strange Academy Finals, which is the next chapter.
Is Scotty still?
Scotty's still drawing it. Umberto, who's doing the work of his life, is going to be drawing it again. Umberto is just an amazing individual. He pencils and inks a page in that detail every day, Saturday, Sunday. 20 pages, 20 days, next issue. And if you look at it in black and white, I think there is one black and white edition out internationally, I think in Europe or Japan. Incredible work. Just
I believe it, man.
Work.
That's outstanding. I love that series, by the way. And Scotty's a longtime friend. Yeah. I'll tell you one that I am really excited about. I don't think it's started yet. And it's a digital first thing, and that's Millie the Spy.
Yes, Millie the Spy.
And Stephanie Phillips, who's writing it, has already been on my show. We were hanging out last night talking about it too. But yeah, let people in on Millie the Spy if they don't know about it.
Yeah, Millie the Spy is part of what it's called our Marvel Infinity Comics. And I'm sure you guys know Webtoons, the vertical scrolling comics, Webtoons or Tapas. That's a medium that I've been pursuing for a while. I lived in Asia, and I was the head of Marvel Asia for a number of years. And one of the things that we did was work with some of our Korean partners to launch some vertical comics. So now it's been almost 1 year, I think. I think X-Men is in episode 50. If you go to the Marvel app, Marvel Unlimited, we release a new digital comic almost every day, which is incredible. As comic book fans, we have to wait. We're Wednesday Words. We wait till Wednesday to come out. Yep. When you're on the digital comics, on the Infinity Comics, they come out every day almost. And there's a bunch of different tracks, and we're experimenting with different genres and different content, just like Webtoons were. So while Marvel is particularly superhero, and these are all Marvel comics, so to speak, we have a Spider-Man track, we have an X-Men track, we have an Avengers track, but there's also a romance track called Love Unlimited, which Millie the Spy is a part of. It's going to focus on the romances in the Marvel Universe, because as we all know, Marvel's a big soap opera, especially when it comes to X-Men. There's a lot of fun stuff doing there. We have a track called Marvel Funnies, which is like Alligator Loki, Marvel Meow, about the cats in the Marvel Universe, Jeff the Land Shark. And one of the things that I'm excited about that we announced in San Diego also is it's a new cooking comic that we're going to be putting out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, called Test Kitchen.
Fun.
Yeah, and it's written by a two Michelin-starred chef, Paul Eschbach, and drawn by E.J. Sue. And basically, we're introducing a chef, Chef Anna, who, through a mishap in an Avengers battle, ends up working for Tony Stark as his private chef. And it's her just coming into this world. Like when I was a younger reader, Kitty Pryde was kind of the POV character in the Marvel Universe. For many people, it was Jubilee through the X-Men comic, or X-Men comics and/or the TV show. And we're going to start seeing the Marvel Universe through Chef Anna's eyes. And what's it like when Thor comes over for dinner? There's an episode that Chef just turned in that was about White Queen having dinner with Tony Stark. When you have two people of that stature, what do you feed them? So each episode will be half a Marvel adventure, and then it's going to be a recipe. And
outstanding.
It's a really family-friendly comic that we're encouraging families to get together and read the comic. And then if you want to make the recipes, they're all very stuff that's in any grocery stores around the world. Some specialty items, but we recommend replacements if you can't get there. Food is a passion of mine. That's why I'm very interested in this. And we're also going to be encouraging people with a hashtag is if you go up and make the recipe, just like we had fan letters back in the day.
Yes.
We're going to be encouraging people to go online and put up pictures of the dish you made.
Hey,
and
that's
talk about
awesome.
it and stuff like that.
Like cosplay and everything, but doing dishes. That's wonderful.
Exactly. So if you haven't checked out the Marvel Comics Unlimited app, please do. It's a really fun app, and we're really proud of everything that's going on with our vertical initiatives.
Well, and I'll even say, truly, I'm not getting paid by CB saying this, best investment yearly that I make, because it really helps you keep tabs on the whole universe. It's great for callbacks and old comics as well. And these digital first initiatives, like what CB's just been describing. And Millie the Spy, part of the romance line and stuff, it's the old character Millie the model that goes back to the Timely years and everything, I believe, if not Atlas years. And, it was just one of these, like, great little bebopping thing. I believe, as Stephanie told me, Stephanie Phillips, the writer, it's kind of set in the 60s, kind of.
Yep.
And the look of it is going to have that kind of pop art 60s kind of, and I'm assuming, ecstatic.
Allred.
Yeah, Allred, like a Mike Allred look, or what Greg Smallwell, you'll forgive me, Distinguished Competition, across the street is doing at DC with Human Target.
Yep.
And yes, Stephanie gets it. I mean, she really does. And I think she's truly, she's my friend, but I also think she's an incredibly talented writer. I'm really glad she's doing this. But it's so great. She is going to be, Millie the model is going to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and it's drawn by Derek Charm, and the fashion in the comic is quite exceptional.
Yeah, so that's I think it's a brilliant idea. And again, it plays to these other genres, but still stays very much Marvel. So I think you can kind of experience both worlds.
And that's kind of too what I love so much about this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Going back to what Kevin and the studios teams does so great. They're all superhero movies, but each one is set in a different kind of genre, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because you got Winter Soldier, which is a spy thriller. You had kind of Ant-Man, which was a rom-com in many ways.
And a heist.
Yeah,
and a heist thing.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy, which goes to sci-fi. I mean, they play so wonderfully with that. That's the beauty of the Marvel Universe. It tends to get overlooked when people make blanket statements about it. Oh, they're just all the superheroes, but it's really not, One of the things that I always say, and you know this better than anybody, is that, when you go to see the movies or you go to read Marvel comics, the titles on the books are Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man. But at the core, those are stories about Peter Parker and Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, who put on their costumes or their uniforms and they go to work like the rest of us. And that's the beauty of what we do, is that if we're doing our jobs right, those characters are so relatable that people feel that they're aspirational inspiration. They feel that they can be those heroes. And that's what the movies got across so well, too. When you watch those actors embody those characters, they drag you in and they make you want to be a part of what they're doing.
Now, you don't want, and we don't want as comic book fans, to be the tail and the TV shows and the movies be the dog. And you don't want, But I mean, really, it starts with the comics, and I know Kevin has that philosophy. That said, I do know the sad misstep of the late 90s when the Bryan Singer X-Men movies were coming out, and there was an opportunity to put a little, 8-page thing or whatever, however long it was, in TV Guide. Remember TV Guide? And it's like, okay, this is in the middle of a Marvel story that is, completely, if you're coming at it from, I heard there's an X-Men movie, well, maybe I'll read this comic. You had no idea what the hell was going on back then. Yeah. So my point is, though, that now, obviously, as much as you do want the inspiration and the ideas to come from the comics first, there's got to be a bit of kind of a wave crashing and coming back to the ocean and then crashing the shore again.
Without a doubt. And
so tell me about that.
I've used this analogy for years, and I was in Tokyo a couple weeks ago, and I saw they'd actually made a graphic of this to show to people, which blew me away. But the way that I always said it was, when you look at Marvel, Marvel's like compared to the human body. And that was the what I always do, because right now the studios is the face, it's the head, it's what everybody kind of sees first. It's the movies, it's the actors, it's flashy, they're everywhere, they're what's really driving people's interest, to come into Marvel. And then as you go through the body, the arms are like the animation division and the games division, and the lower half of the body is consumer products. It's your action figures, it's your bed sheets and your toys and your lip glosses and your jewelry and everything that Marvel is selling now, because that's what really drives financially as well. The
licensing,
licensing drives the company. But Marvel Comics is the heart. We are what keeps Marvel going. We keep pumping every week new stories that Bill and everything, the blood, through the body. Yeah. But because it is a body now, the blood is circulating, and we're coming back, and things are coming back into the heart.
Certainly.
So things that they're doing in the D+ shows, things that the games team has done so brilliantly, all some of the amazing ideas of what Kevin and his teams and all the producers and writers have been doing in the movie division, it all circulates back. And you could see those influences kind of come back into what we do. If there's a good idea anywhere in the Marvel universe, creative universe, let's say, between all the divisions, we'll use it, because we're a very synergistic company. And anyone can have a good idea, and it's all about what's best for the characters and what's best for the story, no matter where it comes from.
Understood. And truly, I do think some of your competitors have struggled for that relationship, and it really felt like even before Disney acquired Marvel, already, I mean, there was this synchronicity in terms of movie, TV, whatever. And I mean, certainly now, even after Disney's ownership of Marvel, Disney XD, I mean, the cartoons are great. They're for kids, but they clearly have that basis of coming from the comics and stuff. No, I think all the product is excellent. It's a great opportunity to talk to CB. I hope people have questions.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, too, when you talk about the reflection of the movies on the comics. 10, 15 years ago, those hardcore fans hated when we would do anything. Oh, they put the X-Men in the black costumes, or any kind of change was made, they wouldn't accept it. Now they're very accepting. Oh, that's cool. Oh, we saw that in the comics. That was so well done. No wonder they did that in the films or in the D Plus show. No wonder they're doing that in the comics. And there's going to be some definite stuff coming up that's going to be very apparent that where we went, damn it. Those guys did it so well. Why didn't we think of that? And then we said, all right, well, hey, there's a way to naturally incorporate that. So just like us doing the Alligator Loki comic now.
Which is, that's why I left them. That's fantastic. And I remember when the second Iron Man movie came out, and Matt Fraction was going to write Iron Man. Literally, it felt like, okay, you just saw the movie, you could pick up that new issue, and it was like, all right, here's the next day. Here's what's happening. So, I mean, I do think it can work both ways. Are there questions, guys? So we can. Great, sir.
So, speaking of distinguished competition, they recently announced the 30th anniversary for Death of Superman. They were bringing back some original creator.
Oh, yeah.
To do something. I don't know if you want to speak officially, but personally, are there any, 40th anniversary of Secret Wars or 30th anniversary of the Clone Saga? Has there been any discussions, or are there any stories that you would like to see original creators revisit on Marvel?
Have you hacked my email, sir? A part of what I've been really focused on, especially over the last 5 years when we started celebrating anniversaries in a much bigger way, was looking back at a lot of those classic storylines and hiring the original creators or parts of the creative team who are still around or who want to work on those characters to revisit untold tales or come back to those characters. A good example is going back to Larry Hama again. I just saw him signing copies of Patch, which was a story. He was a writer of Wolverine, 25 years ago. And how about we revisit that character? Is there a tale that part of that story you never told? Oh, I got this great idea. I'd love to tell this 5-issue thing. Let's do it, We recently announced Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca. Both creators are coming back to Extreme X-Men. So yes, there are definitely things happening. There will be a big celebration of the Clone Saga coming, and I can't give away too many details just yet, but the Secret War and Secret Wars anniversary will be, that's 84, so that was 2024, but we're going to be starting the celebration in 2023. We already had plans, and then at Hall H last week, Kevin announced those 2 new Avengers movies, and the last one's going to be called Avengers Secret Wars. Like, oh my God. So well aware of stuff like that. And for me, I'm a big X-Men guy, so I'm always keeping my eye on X-Men anniversaries. And there's some character anniversaries that are coming up, especially when it comes to 2023 and 2024 that we'll be celebrating as well.
That's cool. Another question? Everybody? Anybody? Okay, the gentleman with the silver hair and the beard first. That's you. Yeah. Well.
Marvel app is great. Any chance we've ever seen comics like Ron, G.I. Joe, just
copyright stuff, unfortunately. We're very proud of our history of licensed comics, and we continue to do licensed comics. Conan's going to still be coming out till the end of this year. We're still doing the Ultraman book. We just did a fantastic Warhammer run. And you will be seeing us continue with licensed comics. Obviously now, we still have the Star Wars license. We're doing Alien, and then the Predator comic. I just read the final print. They sent, the printer ships me when it prints. They ship me out the books right away so I could look at the quality and read it in print form. And I just read the first printed version of Predator, and it's a phenomenal comic. And I'm not the biggest Predator fan. I know I saw the movies. I loved it. I love them, but Ed Brisson, who wrote it, is so ingrained in Predator and the lore that he put together this amazing tale that made me want to go back and rewatch those movies and be a part of it all again. So we have a couple other properties we're going to be announcing soon that we have the licenses for, but unfortunately, I love Rom, I love the Micronauts, I love the Shogun Warriors, I love all those old
Godzilla.
comics. Godzilla, exactly. But just, those were published, 30, 40 years ago, and unfortunately, we don't have the rights to publish them anymore.
One thing I missed about books that Marvel have are the
Oh, you know what? I never thought about that, but yeah, it's something we could look into.
What was? I'm sorry, and I'm just going to do it for the podcast. What was the question? I couldn't hear the gentleman.
Can you? We take the ads out of the books
I
online,
see. Sure,
but he likes the house.
Oh God, yes. Oh man, no, you're right about that. It's like a time warp. That's why I buy
Bronze back in.
Yeah, that's why I buy Bronze Age comics, is to see those ads again. Absolutely, the Hostess Pie, one pagers and stuff. Absolutely, man.
I don't want to put them in the app, but you put them on a separate little.
So yeah, the other problem there though is that there are licensing issues with a lot of those old ads too, and so we'll see. But it's not a bad idea actually to look into doing something like that.
How do I get my onion gum and my black soap and stuff like all the great novelty BS that they used to have in those pages? Gentleman behind you, there you go. Yes, sir. Thanks. I know they only have the one. Oh, yeah, I was going to say there's the one, but you don't have to do the microphone. Oh, I appreciate you walking up, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. First of all, congratulations to Marvel on 900 issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you, yeah.
My first issue is fantastic, and I'm very confident the next 100 issues.
Yep.
Every issue counting down to 1,000 is going to be epic. My question is, even though it's probably like 4 or 5 years out, have you guys thought about how, considering what DC did with their 1,000th issue of both Detective and Action Comics, have you thought about the impact and importance that issue is going to be, and has there been any discussion of what's going to happen? And as a follow-up Spider-Man question, how excited are you guys to have Dan Slott and Mark, I can't pronounce his last name,
Bagley. Yep.
working on the upcoming this Spider-Man title?
Sure. So to answer the first part of your question about the 1,000 issues, as a tongue-in-cheekily, we have put out Marvel Comics 1,000, and coming up this summer we have Amazing Fantasy 1,000. But Amazing, it doesn't escape us that Amazing Spider-Man 1,000 will be our first book to actually hit 1,000 in print with the legacy numbering. We know it's coming. We kind of mapped out where it's probably going to fall based on shipping, double shipping, all those factors. Creator-wise, content-wise, who knows? Am I going to be here? Is Zeb still going to be writing? John Romita will definitely still be drawing something somewhere. But we'll just have to wait and see. So we know it's coming. We know the anniversary's there. It doesn't escape us. But we haven't had no concrete plans. And Dan Slott had such an amazing run on Spider-Man. Had such an amazing run on Fantastic Four. When he said he going to run down his time on FF, he wanted to take on another book. We really didn't know what it was going to be, and then Dan said, I want to tell the third part of the trilogy of the Spider-Verse saga. And we read his ideas, read his pitch, and it's brilliant. It's Dan Slott. It's the characters that he created. It's going to be perfectly timed for the Across the Spider-Verse movie next year. And how could you not want to create a comic with Mark Bagley, the man who's drawn more issues of Spider-Man in different iterations in ways, shapes, or form than any human being in existence ever. Having that team back is a dream come true for us. And we can't wait for fans to see what they're putting together, because it's just, for Spider-Man fans, it's just amazing. But really knowing that how many Spider-Verse fans there are out there, and people who love all different versions of the Spider characters that we've introduced over the years, and with knowing that movie is coming, it's just something that's going to be truly special.
One quick follow-up question. How much synergy between the main Spider-Man book and this upcoming Spider-Man book is to be expected?
Like any Marvel book, it's in the same universe. There will be some ties that are connected, but you don't have to read both. They both stand on their own, but if you read them both, there's maximum enjoyment, because there will be some nods back and forth between what Zeb and Dan are doing.
I love the fact, too, and sir, I will get to you next, I promise, but I love the argument that happens within Marvel where I've heard Tom Brevoort say, well, annuals don't count as far as issues, and that kills me. It's like, of course they count their issues, man. At least that's my
annuals, miniseries, we go back and forth on a lot of legacy.
I have no doubt.
A lot of legacy
I love
numbering.
also the Marvel Creative conferences that they have, the creators, and you hear, I get to hear because of my podcast, some of the stories of, who should have succeeded Doctor Strange as the Sorcerer Supreme after the Hulk crushed his hands in World War Hulk. And it's like, well, it should be this guy, it should be that guy. Oh, no. And it's really, again, everybody there, I know for a fact, and including the current regime, they care about these characters and they really want to tell the best stories. And that's why you have these fun arguments and silly stuff like that. Sir in the green shirt.
I'm a Doctor Strange fan, and I was wondering, with the movie crossover between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, does that start in the comics and go to the movies, or vice versa? Do you guys talk?
You know, like I said, I'm not intimately involved in the creation of the movies or in those rooms, but you know, Kevin, you know, is heavily he's the producer of all that stuff, but you know, he takes a lot of influence from the comics. So we are always on the ready when the producers and the writers have questions for us with content. We send them stories. We have these creative summits where we tell them what's going to be coming up over the next year for Doctor Strange or Black Panther or Guardians of the Galaxy. So they're in tune with what we're doing because they like to be kept abreast of that stuff. But you know, where it starts and where it ends, the movies are kind of something that the cinematic universe exists on its own. It pulls some inspiration from the comics, but a lot of that is, you know, they take use the original source material and then kind of take it in their own directions. Well, with this is the funny thing that always gets pointed out to us. A lot of times when studios are putting out movies, a lot of our characters are dead in the comic book universe. Yeah, currently dead. So when Doctor Strange movie came out, we had just had the Death of Doctor Strange miniseries where he's dead, and Clea is actually the Sorcerer Supreme now in the Marvel universe. How long that is going to go on, we'll just have to wait and see. But that's the beauty of having those two separate universes. With the MCU universe, someone like Tony Stark is passed away. He's dead. But we have Tony Stark in the comics, so that's like we have that card to play, you know. But sure. Dead is dead in comics, right? You know.
Well, I was, you know, honestly, CB, about that, because truly, and sadly for us older readers, it's like, all right, he's dead. That guy's dead again, or this person's dead for the first time. We all know he's coming back. I'm sure at some point across the street, Clark Kent will be a secret identity again, and that will not be forever. But I mean, you know, do you worry about going to the well of in the comics of deaths of heroes and things?
You know, Joe Quesada, the editor-in-chief, you know, my mentor, my friend, always said, and we always make the joke, you know, dead is dead, and that was never the whole statement. We've gone over this many times. It was dead is dead unless a writer has an incredible idea to bring the character back that fits naturally. I was a big believer, and I've gotten up on panels at the start and said, I don't want to kill characters. And I do think it's an overused cliche, but, you know, my statement was also that, it's, you know, Cebulski says, no Marvel character will die. And then the other half of that was, unless there is some meaning or a good story to be told from that character's death. And a lot of times now when creators kill characters, they already have a way to bring them back in some ways, or a way to do it. And Marvel's a soap opera. We all know that. You know, that's what we love about it. You know, Johnny Storm died, a year ago? Again. And he's back. You know, It was a fate.
Well, I always point to Hickman's because, again, I'm one of these guys that, all right, I've seen this Carnival ride. I don't want to do it again. But that said, when John was writing Fantastic Four and he killed Johnny, God, there was some amazing responses from the heroes of the death, and my two favorite were Spiderman with Franklin Richards on a rooftop going, I know what it's like to lose an uncle. I know what you're going through. And it's like, oh God, that's awesome. Uncle Ben and Johnny, same thing. And also when the Thing was so frustrated, they had Hercules, Thor, and the Hulk, and they let the Thing just beat the hell out of them. And it ended with the Thing sobbing, holding onto the Hulk, his head buried in the Hulk's chest, and Thor and Hercules with their heads down. And it's like, wow. So you don't want to deny, especially first-time readers, that experience.
Yep.
So I can appreciate the difficult balance. So anyway, all right, back to your guys' questions, please, if there's more. Sir.
Hi, thank you for being here.
No problem.
I'm a Marvel guy, first off. Now my question. One of the things DC has done recently, which I think is interesting, is that the larger format books that are Black Label, from a tactile experience, they're very effective, and they also tell stories out of continuity, which also has its benefits. I'm just curious if Marvel has ever thought about doing something like that.
We have. You know, I love the Black Label creators. I love the Black Label stories, and I really like what they're doing. I personally do not like the format because I'm one of those guys where it doesn't fit in a box or it doesn't fit on a shelf. You know, I really have them all stacked up on the floor. But you know, we tell similar things like what Spider-Man life story was, or what Chip did with the Secret Spider, the new one that came out with Pasquale Ferry.
And Mark Russell's life stories.
Exactly.
Fantastic Four.
We experiment with that format in story. We haven't gone to talk about a different size yet. We haven't published things at a different size yet. Have we talked about it? Yes. Are we going to do it? We don't know just yet. Retailers have some very strong opinions about this as well, which we always take into consideration because we want to make sure that our retail partners are able to sell the product, happy and able to sell the product. So, yes, it's been talked about. No, I don't have an answer if we're going to do it or not. But I love that paper they printed on too. It's so nice.
Sir.
Hi there. Thank you for being here, sir.
No problem.
Glad to talk to you. Speaking about characters and synergy and everything, this is on the comic book side, not the movie side. On the comic book side, like recently we had like Trial Magneto, we had Dogfoot, which was great, and recently here in the Gallo, a lot of fans have been wondering like Scarlet Witch won Maximum. Do you have any plans for the comics the next few months or so, or something like that? I'm curious if we're looking for new books.
Very big plans for both Wanda the Scarlet Witch and for, I guess, is this an announcement? Oh, no, I don't know. It was, for Agatha Harkness.
Excellent.
So this goes back to kind of the synergy that I was just talking about. That WandaVision show was brilliant. We loved it. And we weren't doing a lot with Scarlet Witch and Vision, and we realized we weren't doing a lot with Agatha. And how they handled her was very well done. And I don't want to talk about where these characters are going and what paths they're taking, but later this year, very soon, you're going to be seeing some news about some very exciting stuff that's going to be happening with that corner of the world.
That's excellent. Yes, sir.
Thank you. You talked about some of the new characters that your writers and artists get to work on. Do you find it difficult to get some of the younger writers and artists to work on the 60-year-old characters, the Bruce Banner, the Thor, the Peter Parker, you talked about Dan Slott and all that, but the younger creators, are they finding it easier to work on new creations or go back to the ones that are out?
Yeah, the way that we let them handle it is write the characters, pitch the characters that you want to write. And some of the newer creators really come in and they've been, I read Ms. Marvel, and Runaways is one that always comes up as well. Miles, when I was in high school, and that was 6 or 7 years ago, 10 years ago. I want to write those characters because those are characters I can relate to, just like for me, for older readers like us, we related to Spiderman or the X-Men growing up. But so we'll let them pitch and play in those universes. But some of them do come in and say, well, I got into comics through Runaways or Ms. Marvel, but I love the larger universe. I'd love to pitch a Spider-Man or a Hulk story. So it goes both ways. There's some times where we go to writers and say, what do you want to write? What would you want to write? And they pitch us their ideas. And there's other times, especially with a lot of our anthology books, be it was like Marvel Comics 1000 or some of the new Black, White, and Bloods, Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood, or Venom, Black, White, and Blood, someone like Stephanie Phillips is coming in, and their newer writers are pitching stories like, hey, here's a specific format with a specific character with a specific length, because those are 10-page stories. Do you want to tell a story with that character? And some of them say, yeah, we'd love to. I don't know much about the character. I'd love to go and explore. And other ones don't. So it's really up to the creator. At Marvel, just like following the footsteps of what Stan did, there's creative and artistic freedom for our artists and our writers to experiment with who and what they like and what their passions are. And sometimes take chances on things they might not be as comfortable with.
I'm so glad the Big Two has gotten back to 10-page stories, because I think in the right hands they can be very effective and satisfying. And I worried for a long time in the early aughts that ability to tell a short story was kind of getting away from both being presented in comics and also an opportunity for younger writers and artists to tell stories that way.
Especially for writers. The shorter the story, the more difficult it is. And 100%. If you can tell a story with 3 acts and 8 pages, then we know that you have the skills to expand and do story arcs and series.
100%. Absolutely. Are we close to wrap? Is that... do we have time for one more question? One more question, please.
How early are we going to get with Traveler about Strange stories? And can we talk about signing long term so we make sure we have more weird Traveler?
Yeah, Trad Moore is just an incredible creator.
Big fan.
With Silver Surfer Black, he teamed with Donnie, and they told that wild story. I remember when those pages started coming in. It was right when I was in my office and it was the first time in the editorial meetings when I'd come back. I was like, oh my God, I love Trad. People love Trad, but Trad took things to another level in that weirdness. And we're like, all right, we're going to let it roll. And it did, and it paid off. And now here where he's writing and drawing it himself, he's taking it to another level. He's as an artist, we say, he's a chameleon. He changes, he grows, and he's adapts his style to whatever the character and story is. So Trad's got a lot of ideas, and we're hoping that after Doctor Strange comes out, that I know he's got other ideas in his pocket, so we just got to figure out which one we're going to do next.
And that's the great thing of the last 20 years, I think, too, because I think both companies, DC and Marvel, had settled on kind of a house style. And I know, CB, I know you were out there, man, wrangling really interesting artists and stuff. And I love bringing newbies that are adults into comic stores, and they just grew up on the Sunday funnies in the newspapers, and they're expecting Peanuts and High and Lois. And I can show them somebody like Trad Moore or other great artists, and it's like, these are comics? And it's like, yep. And it's great because I think we got that earlier with writers, and we got smarter stories, and now we're getting amazing art as well.
Yep.
It's a great time. And really, I truly think you, as the trustee right now, as editor-in-chief, are the right guy at the right time to be doing this job. So well done.
Well, thank you for saying that, John.
Continued success as always.
And thank you all for coming. Thanks for being Marvel fans. Just a special shout out to the scouts who have been helping out all weekend. Eagle Scout myself, Troop 66, Easton, Connecticut back in the day. And to Mitch and to everybody who runs the show and the creators who are here. It's amazing to me as a, being born and bred here in Connecticut that we have this kind of comic book show with this amazing level of talent and these amazing panels here. So thank you all for being fans, and I'll be at my booth later if you want to say hi.
Hi, this is Maisie Richardson-Sellers, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be a legend and hit that like button, and most importantly, have fun and follow your fandom.